When starting Gems of the 2010s, I knew I wanted to cover Squid Girl. It was a show that I enjoyed greatly back in middle school, and rewatching it now, it's just as entertaining. Nowadays, I think most people probably know about Squid Girl from its surprising Splatoon crossover, which happened a few years ago. It's hard to put into words Squid Girl's appeal. I wouldn't describe it as a cult classic, but it's the kind of show that lodges its way into your heart. I think the charm the show exudes keeps the fans of Squid Girl eternal fans, if that makes any sense. It's no surprise, years after the anime had ended, that we saw fans clamoring for a Splatoon crossover, or see Squid Girl related stuff popping up here and there. It's stuck on a lot longer than any other run-of-the-mill comedy has, that's for sure. Squid Girl's greatest asset is obviously the comedy, something I think is rather obvious, so let's get into it. Squid Girl, who I'll be referring from now on as Ika Musume, to not confuse her in the show's name, is an anthropomorphic squid who comes from the ocean in order to invade humanity for trashing the sea. The ridiculous concept lends itself to some great humor. Squid Girl is formatted unusually, with each episode of the show comprising of 3 mini skits. Since Squid Girl is an adaptation from a manga, the show will combine a few chapters or stretch out the good ones to fill the time. This leads to a variety of skits throughout the show, and even if you didn't enjoy one in the episode, there's 2 other that you hopefully will. The crux of Squid Girl's comedy comes from its large cast of characters. There's the serious, impressively all-powerful Chizuru, Ika's #1 fan Sanae, or, my personal favorite, the 3 Stooges and Cindy, who are Americans in search of aliens. Of course, the list doesn't stop there, but each of the characters has a different relationship with Ika that leads to plenty of funny scenes throughout the show. That being said, the characters also help Ika appreciate the world she once came to invade, serving more than just a pure comedic function. Squid Girl's comedy also comes from Ika learning about the world around her. From umbrellas to exercises to school, there's a variety of different things she interacts with throughout the show that leads to great moments and superb humor. Additionally, I think I absolutely have to mention the mini Ika episodes. They're emotional, highly unique segments presented without any real dialogue. A lot of the fans, myself included, are really fond of these segments even though they're just a small segment of the show. There's something I absolutely need to mention though. Your enjoyment of Squid Girl will vary greatly depending on the quality of your subtitles. Personally, I watched the series back in the day on Crunchyroll, and it's kinda wild over 7 years later, I can watch it on the same platform. Crunchyroll's subs are overall pretty quality, and insert a large number of puns and such that greatly enhance the overall experience. The Blu-ray's quality is about in the middle of fan subs and Crunchyroll. Some of my more in-depth thoughts are flashing on screen now if you're interested. Unfortunately, fan subs I've also tried were lacking in puns, an absolute necessity in my opinion, instead being a rather straightforward translation. This anecdote essentially boils down to, make sure your subtitles are decent, and you'll enjoy the show much, much more. Without the addition of puns, Squid Girl loses one of its strongest suits. However, is it really fair to consider one of the strongest aspects of Squid Girl's comedy the puns? Seeing as how they don't exist in the original, aside from ending sentences with Gesso and Ika, it kind of feels disingenuous to consider this show an excellent comedy when a lot of said comedy comes from the artistic liberties taken by whatever party is translating it. That being said, I still do think Squid Girl's comedy is really unlike any other anime I've personally seen. While the subtitles are indeed something added by third parties, the subtitles have become one of the biggest thing Western fans think of when discussing Squid Girl, and I think they greatly add to the appeal Squid Girl has. In the end, while the puns are indeed something not really present in the original, their presence is something that has become synonymous with Squid Girl, and I think they are a necessity and one of the show's highlights. Voice acting in this show is all around great. I already enjoyed her work in Sound of the Sky, but Kanemoto Hisako's performance as Ika Musume is just superb. The rest of the characters deliver good performances, and I love the awful Japanese the 3 Stooges use throughout the show. Key to the quality of any good joke is the delivery of said line, and everybody in the show does a pretty bang-up job. Normally I'd gush about the music for way too long right about now, but Squid Girl doesn't particularly have any bangers on the soundtrack or anything. The only songs of note, in my opinion, throughout the entire series are the Season 1 opening, which is just an excellent way to open up every episode, and the Season 2 ending. Another thing I feel the need to touch, or it wouldn't really feel like a full recommendation or review, is the visuals. I can't give heaps of praise to the animation or anything, it gets the job done, but the art style is nice. The absolute best thing the show offers is character designs. Ika Musume's design is immediately recognizable and, dare I say, iconic. In the end, Squid Girl is an excellent comedy anime that derives a lot of its enjoyment from its large, wacky cast of characters and Ika's interactions with her new, unfamiliar environment. It's snuck its way into a lot of anime fans' hearts over the years, and I think for good reason. If you haven't checked out Squid Girl yet, or haven't heard of it, definitely give it a shot.